New tonight at 10 as well, life-saving actions were taken tonight as Essentia Health donated an AED to the Arrowhead Youth Soccer Association. Northern News Now's Ella Schoberl shares how these life-saving skills hit close to home for the association. Ella?
Yeah, that's right, Laura. Essentia Health not only educated the Soccer Association on the importance of this equipment in an emergency, but also taught coaches hands-on CPR and AED training. It's even more meaningful to the association after one of their leaders had a heart attack. Dozens of coaches and parents from the Arrowhead Soccer Association were in attendance, getting hands-on training for CPR and AED use. The association has an AED at each of its fields, but thanks to this donation, they will have more updated equipment. Officials say that AEDs are especially important to have in public spaces like sports facilities because those are the areas where someone is more likely to suffer a cardiac arrest. They also say that the most important part is taking action quickly, as that raises the likelihood of a person's survival.
Somebody did CPR immediately, and somebody was able to get an AED on right away before often even the ambulance comes, because that is super important to getting the heart back and working again.
And this donation made an even bigger impact for the Arrowhead Youth Soccer Association, as its assistant director suffered a heart attack just last December. Doctors had to give him CPR and administer an AED, and now he wants to make sure that parents, coaches, and referees also have that training because it could save a life.
As a coach or anybody's involved with youth sports, you understand that the importance of player safety. But until it happens to somebody like you don't understand how necessary it is.
Officials say that CPR and AED training is easy, saying that even simply watching a quick video can help teach those life-saving skills. You can find CPR and AED training here in the Duluth area by heading over to our website. Live in studio, Ella Schoberl, Northern News Now.